Hey, brother. Good to have you on board, mate. Thanks for joining us, and I'm thrilled with the jersey. I'm pretty sure that's just a bit of a joke, but thanks for thinking of me, brother.
I've been supporting these boys since way back, as you know, so my pleasure. Good to be here.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks. So, for those who don't know you, mate, Chris Eaton, former Magpie, part of the exclusive Centurions Club, 112, 113 games for the Magpies, 27
14,
games.
I think.
104, sorry. You need to go sort out Wikipedia, mate, because I've got it down as 113.
I'll get on to them.
Add in 27 games for the Canes, a bit of time with the Force, a bit of time in Spain, and you just finished a season in Russia, I believe. RC Kuban. Firstly, mate, how's everything going? How's the family holding up during the lockdown?
Oh, easy as, bro. It's a little bit mundane from time to time, but it's the hardest thing we've got to do is stay home and hang out with the family. That's not too bad, is it?
Nah, it's pretty good, in a lot of respects. I mean, you look like you've got a fair amount of gear there to keep you occupied, bro.
Yeah, I've got a fair bit of gear going. I've got my gym set up and that now, so I'm good to go. I've got everything I need.
Nice, mate. Nice. So, mate, just for those that probably don't know who you are, just tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit of your upbringing, where you're from, mate.
I grew up in the hood, out in Flaxmere, born and raised, and spent 20 years of my life out there before I moved out, and always wanted to be a professional rugby player. That sort of came true to around 2009. I'm a tradesman as well. I was a fibrous plasterer up until then. Managed to quit my job, go full-time playing rugby. A few years playing Super Rugby, a lot of years playing for Hawke's Bay, and a couple of stints overseas, and here I am.
Nice, mate. And you say you're born and bred in Flaxmere, boy. Now, Flaxmere is pretty notorious for probably a lot of the wrong reasons, mate. How was life as a young fella, particularly a white fella growing up in Flaxmere, mate?
Yeah, when I was young, I thought white people were minorities because Flaxmere was everything I knew. So, but it's got its goods and bads. You know, I've got good friends that I still keep in touch with that I grew up from out there, and I've got fond memories of my upbringing. I've got a lot of memories that are not so good as well, but you take the good with the bad, and there's a lot of good people that live out there. There's a few people that give it a bad name, but in general, it's a good place. There's some good people there.
And as far as your family setup, mate, siblings?
Yeah, just one older brother, so just me and him growing up. Yeah, that's it. Just an older brother. Mum and dad still together. Growing, still the old man, just retired actually, but come from a family of hard workers. They grounded out their whole life. They gave us a pretty good upbringing, so we're very thankful to them for everything they've done for us.
Nice, bro. Nice. And again, for those that have watched my previous video with Dan, I'm conscious that of not to make this all about footy, but given it's been a big part of your life, bro, maybe I'd just touch on those early years. So where am I going with this? You probably didn't follow the conventional path of a pro footy player, and this is no disrespect. You didn't play age group footy at a national level. Most kids now are in the system from secondary school to 20s, ITM Cup, and a lot of the kids have been signed just out of school, big contracts. You sort of had to ground it out a bit longer to get your opportunity. And early in the piece, you were playing a bit of club footy. You played for Havelock, and then you shifted over. You saw the light, and you came to Charadale, mate. Do you want to just tell us about that shift Why, and I guess differences between the two clubs, mate?
Yeah. I definitely took the Battlers route, and but it's something that gave me a lot of appreciation for the things that I did manage to achieve as well. So it was kind of a blessing too. I played 60 plus games for Havelock,
Oh.
and really good club filled with a lot of good people. And I my time there, and I didn't think I'd ever leave there. I got into a little bit of mischief there. A lot of people, not a lot of people, but a few people sort of frowned upon the way that I was acting, which is probably fair enough as well, being a young fella coming out of school. And I had aspirations of furthering my rugby. And when Danny Lee come home, he's a Havelock boy as well. So I played a year with Danny at Havelock, and he was getting more game time than me, and I just needed to be playing more. So I said I needed to make a shift, and so the Havelock coach and stuff, I don't really like guys that if they've got an awkward situation or something, they shy away from it or they leave, without confronting it face to face. So I went and talked to the boys, and I talked to the coach, and said this is what I need, and I need to get out of here. And I went, talked to all the players, shook hands, and we left on good terms. So I've got nothing but good memories of Havelock. And then I came over to Taradale, and we managed to beat Havelock in the final that year, the first Madison medals. That was good. And the differences in the club was there's a few differences actually. I just felt a little bit more accepted coming to Taradale, as I was a little bit mischief, I was a little bit of a mutt, and the boys at Taradale seemed to appreciate that a little bit more, where the old heads at Havelock, not so much.
Nice, mate. Nice. And you touched on, I guess, some of that earlier behaviour and some of those situations you got yourself into. Was that just a result of a bit of the hood still in the boy sort of style, mate? I know you ran into a few issues, even with the law at some stage, which could have probably derailed your career before it even started. Talk to us about some of those times in your life, mate, and what drove that behaviour.
Yeah, well, like growing up in a place like that is one of the negatives is certain negative behaviour kind of becomes your normal, and you see a lot of negative things at parties. You see a lot of violence. You see your friends and stuff always involved in that sort of thing. So things even from primary school, there's fights every day and stuff. It just become kind of normal to you. So when I got out and about other people and I was acting like that, I soon learned that that's not the way adults are supposed to be behaving. And I felt definitely felt the wrath of that from the long arm of the law at times. So, but you live and you learn. So you hopefully mature over the years, and you use that to sort of make you a better person, hopefully.
Nice, bro. Nice. Now, yeah, I guess I got to admit, personally, when I first met you, or even before you come over to Taradale, I guess my opinion of you was sort of suboptimal. Let me finish. And again, I guess that was just based on some of the stuff I'd seen and heard, how you conducted yourself. You come across a little cocky and arrogant. But then when you come over to Taradale, my whole perception changed. You've always been sort of known to be a player that sort of plays on the line, a bit of a grub, some would say. You definitely, like most halfbacks, you like a bit of niggle. But where does that sort of, is that just a real fierce competitive nature you have, or are you just genuinely an angry person? Through that.
I think when I was younger, I was a bit of an angry person, but I've always looked at rugby as kind of like it's going into a bit of a war zone, and that's the way I always tend to treat it. And man, I've had so many people, I've heard along the way people say, man, I hate that guy, he's a and then people will say, have you actually met him? Nah, we haven't met him, but we know that we hate him. So and I think I kind of enjoy that if people don't like me where I'm playing against, then I feel like I'm doing my job. But I've always been of the belief that what happens on the field stays on the field. So we can go hammer and tong on the field, and then in the club rooms we can get along, no worries.
Very true, mate. And yeah, talking about my perception of you, there was a defining point that kind of changed my perception. It was in a game, and it was related to some of your antics. So I'll just paint a picture here. I don't even know if you remember, but it stood out for me. We were playing against.
I think I remember this.
we were playing against Havelock, and I think they had a Tommy guy there that was from overseas. He come and hit me late, like passed the ball 2-3 whack, and I was pissed off. And before I even got up, I just heard this thunderous smack, and I got up. He was laid out, and you were standing over him, and I was like, "Oh, thanks, mate." Now, again, not condoning violence, Whānau, but I guess I just wanted to bring that to light to show, I guess, I mean, your fierce competitive nature, but also your respect you had for your other teammates, bro. So that was, my sort of perception changed. I mean, to be fair, if I got up in time, I would have handled it myself, but I didn't really need you. But thanks anyway, appreciate it.
Yeah, probably not the first time I would have had to save you behind the field.
So now shifting from club footy, mate, you like we mentioned in the intro, you've played over 100 games for the Magpies. You scored yourself a contract with them when you're reasonably young. How was that environment, bro, coming from club footy? And like we mentioned, sort of taking that longer route to get there. How did you fit in, bro?
Well, my first season with Hawke's Bay, I actually I wasn't selected initially, and I missed out, and it was I just remember being devastated. So I thought that I deserved to be in that year, and I missed out, and possibly realised that they'd made a mistake as well. So I did get pulled in, and that was my first sort of taste. So I got 4 or 5 games off the bench that year, and that was the last year that Hawke's Bay was in second division. Mm-hmm. And it was good, man. I enjoyed it. We had a lot of old heads and stuff, and guys that I respected. We had there was Michael Johnson and Clint Newlands, Lua, and those guys, and I'd played with and against a few of those guys in club rugby, and they were hard backseaters, but that was kind of the atmosphere that I enjoyed anyway. So coming in, I kind of enjoyed that first step, and then following on from that, things got a little bit more professional, but still really enjoyable going forward.
Yeah, you mentioned that step up. I think 06, we basically the whole format changed, and we ended up Hawke's Bay jumped into first division. What were the sort of changes you saw within the group, and I guess professionally, from going from a second div team playing in first div, bro?
Well, we just started getting a few players back. So that was when the likes of Danny and Jace Schumacher and stuff like that started coming back. And those guys had experienced top level rugby. So they started to bring that, and the first couple of years, it was a really good mix. I remember that we had, a good level of professionalism where it was time to train or it was time to play. The boys really dug it in, but when it was time to relax, then we really knew how to party and stuff as well. So those early years I remember being really enjoyable, and that was when we sort of started beating a bit some of those bigger teams. And I think we sort of put that down to a lot of our off-field behaviour and how tight we were as a team, and just bringing that sort of club mentality or second division mentality, but with a bit of a new school twist, with a bit more professionalism and stuff like that.
Yeah, that first, I recall that first year was pretty tough, first year in the first div, but I think '07 seemed to be a real breakout year for Hawke's Bay as far as stamping their mark on the first division. Were you involved with that year, bro? And how was that year particularly for you?
Yeah, so 2007, so I played 2005, 2006, their first year, first division, I missed out. And 2007 was probably one of my most memorable years, even though I was on a drinking ban for reasons we won't go into.
Yeah, if you
But
want, bro.
we had bar tabs all around Hawke's Bay, and I couldn't drink. So, yeah, but I was Shuey's sober driver that year, and that made for some fun times. Anyway, we have to talk to him about those.
You touched on the drink there,
Yeah,
bro.
that was an awesome year.
Sorry, mate, carry on. No, you touched on the drink there, mate, and you've I've seen you in some states, to be fair, but you don't probably wisely, you don't sort of hit the grog so much these days. Is that fair call?
Yeah, like someone said to me, which kind of sums me up, I don't have a drinking problem, but I've got a problem drinking. So
yeah,
I have a few beers and know my limit, which I didn't know when I was younger. It was either 0 or 100,
yep.
And 100 wasn't very good for anyone involved.
Yeah, back to that '07 year, bro. I remember the game against Wellington. Again, I'm not sure you were involved, but that was a really that was an awesome game to watch, and really Hawke's Bay stamped their mark on the top division by giving them a good run. I think we beat them at home. Is that right?
Yeah, so I actually found out I was starting that game the morning of the game. So Denny had a bit of a dodgy hammy, and him being right till the final moment to see if he could play or not, and because he was our captain and all, so they decided to fitness test him the morning of the game. He was no good, so they came and told me, "Oh, you're starting." So I'm like, "Sweet, I'm come up from club rugby, basically starting against this All Black." It was a wet day. If it was a dry day, maybe they would have put a few points on us, but there was a wet day, and then that team was a bit of a pack of dogs, so we just ripped into it. Suna and Clint, everyone remembers what they did on over at 6-8, I think the end score was.
Yeah, no, that was impressive, mate. I remember that. So I guess moving on. So yeah, a few seasons with Hawke's Bay. And again, you took the long track. You spent a couple of years in the wider training squad for the Hurricanes, and then eventually got yourself a full-time contract, bro. How was that transition going from, I guess, semi-professional, still working, to like fully professional rugby environment with a team stacked full of All Blacks, bro? How did you just slide into that situation, bro?
I was actually full-time professional when I went into wider training group. So once I went to wider training group, I was making good enough money that I didn't need to work anymore. But yeah, turning up wider training group back then, you used to travel to Wellington. On the Sunday, you'd train Monday, Tuesday, and you'd come home Tuesday night. And you were kind of a hit shield holder and stuff, which is it's all good for the first year because, like you said, you're surrounded by guys that are legends, and you're sort of trying to soak it up. But that feeling only lasts for so long. You can only hold a hit shield for so long and not get sick of it. So the second year I had to do that. I was starting to struggle a little bit, and I needed more. I needed some game time, and then pushing from wider training group to the full squad was cracked it as a rugby player once I made that step. And just being involved with some of the guys that were in our team, like the Canes at that point was stacked with household names, and it's a little bit daunting, but awesome experience at the same time.
Yeah, I guess you're going from like a fan in some respects to an actual teammate, rubbing shoulders with the likes of Manu, Conrad, Smith. That was a pretty stacked Wellington team, bro. Once you got over that kind of being overawed, did you find your groove pretty quickly and get stuck in?
Yeah, well, you try, you sort of once you get to know people like that, you kind of understand that they're human as well. So that after pre-season and stuff, that feeling can fade a bit, and when you want to do your best to try and help the team succeed. And yeah, so it's put me in good stead going forward, where I try not to look up to people, and as my rugby progressed, like playing against some of the legends as well, it made you think these guys are just human as well, and you've got to rip into them. You can't be standoffish and look up to people too much.
Nice, bro. That's a pretty solid mentality. So you spent, was it two seasons with the Canes as a full-time player?
Yeah, so 2 seasons full squad. 2 seasons before that was a wider training group.
Nice. And just for those, again, just talking about those differences from ITM Cup to Super Rugby, what would a normal day in a Super Rugby environment be like, bro, as far as training and all that sort of stuff?
Well, it's been a little while since I was involved, so things would obviously evolve and change every year and stuff like that. And the squads are a lot bigger now as well, so there's a lot more staff and that they need to handle. But generally, you turn up. It's a sort of a similar to a job. So you've got to turn up. You got to, if it's earlier in the week, you got to review the game. Your computer work, you'll have gym at a certain time, so you got to review the past game plus your performance as well. Then after gym, you'll have meetings and stuff with either your mini group or your team meetings, and come together with things you did well, the things you didn't do so well and you need to do going forward. And then another meeting on meetings, and then in the afternoon you'll get out into your units usually. So your backs and forwards will split, they'll get into their sort of training, and then you got to do your team training as well. So Monday generally is Monday, Tuesday is based on the previous game, and then you head looking forward to the next game. So you got to start to preview those games, work on the things you guys are trying to put forward for the next different team you're about to face.
Nice, bro. Thanks. Sounds like pretty full on, bro. Yeah, I touched on this with Dan the other day, but and we've already spoken about your style of rugby and how it can turn heads and can receive a bit of negative attention. You've probably had your fair share of critics over the years, mate. How do you get that? Do you even give it time? Do you read the papers after games? Do you go anti on social media? How do you deal with that?
It comes definitely. Yeah, it does. And the thing that kind of helps me is you do a little research on the people making those comments, and you see what type of person they are.
So known as stalking, but carry on.
Yeah, so if you hear negative comments or something, click on that person's Facebook page and see what sort of munter they are, and then it's not going to worry you that much.
Yeah, good little tip there for up and comers, eh, bro?
Yeah. But I remember playing even a club game, and I got a negative review in the paper after, I think it was a club final even, and I just, being a young guy and not knowing how to handle it, I wanted to rip that reporter's head off, but your head in the longer you're involved in it, the worse it gets or the better it gets. So you don't read the positive, don't bother reading the negative too much either.
Nice. Yeah, fair to say that, the life of a pro footy player, you got to have pretty thick skin, and like I said before, it comes with the territory, bro, I guess. Now you did a bit of you had a bit of a stint overseas, bro. You did a bit of you went over and played in Spain. How did that come about, bro? And how did you enjoy time over there?
Yeah, well, I was still playing, and I was running the strength and conditioning program for the Magpies Academy, and I was pretty happy in my role. And my plan was to try and I did days out for Hawke's Bay and retire, and I'd sort of move into that strength and conditioning role full time, concentrate on that. But my wife, now who's my wife, was my partner then, has always wanted to travel, and she's never really got to. So, I said, oh, well, I'll see what's out there. I've kind of missed my window to go over and play in the big time over in Europe. So I'll just see what's out there, and it'll give us a good chance to travel as a family. It's something different. So I put the feelers out. The club came up in Spain, and we jumped on. It was the same club that Dan Wanga played for, actually, a few years later. So it's a good club, and we had an awesome time there for 2 seasons. It was wicked. We had a good crew of foreigners, and it was like we had another little family over there. It was good.
Nice, bro. And fast forwarding to just most recently, you spent some time in Russia. Again, mate, how did that come about? What drew you to there, and how was it?
Yeah, that was a fucking nightmare, to be honest. Long story short, a guy just messaged me, said he's keen to get me over, and he threw some pretty good money at me, and we thought this is too good of an opportunity to pass up. So we got over there. Long story short, they sort of pick and choose when they want to pay you, and Russia good at communicating. The rugby was there's some good boys there, some big boys. A few of those Russian supplements, I think, but they're enjoyable at times, but very frustrating at the same time.
You finished up there, bro. You won't be heading back for another season for RC Cuban.
No, not at this rate. No, I think when I left, they'd lost 85% of their players anyway, so they'd kicked all the foreigners out. Tried not to pay us, and said, "See you later."
So, mate, you've had a pretty long career. Where to now? You're still looking at? Are you retired? Are you still looking at playing some club footy? Do you still have a desire to play?
Well, I was keeping the door slightly open, because before I went back to Spain, I had another couple of. I was talking to another couple of people, contracts and stuff. So I did leave the door slightly open, but this virus is not doing anything for us older generation of players, is it? So I'm not sure. I'm 95% retired, but who knows? Yeah.
All right, mate. So you're 35 now. You've been playing top grade footy for a number of years, mate. And again, I spoke with Dan about this around the longevity and also the small amount of time you have to make it. What do you think? What do you think's been some of your secrets, bro, to keep playing, and particularly the way you play the game, which is like full noise? You've had a fair few injuries, but how do you think you've managed to prolong your career for as long as you have?
I just put it down to keeping in shape. Like, you got to look after your body. Outside of the weekend, obviously, like Saturdays is your body gets smashed, and you got to be in shape, and you got to keep working on your body, and it's something that I've always been good at. Is I never really turn up to pre-season out of shape. I'm reasonably strong. I'm always pretty fit. So there's some part of rugby that is I've really enjoyed, and it's something I still do now. Even when I'm not playing, I'm training every day. But yeah, you just got to. In some aspects, I'm lucky, I suppose. I've had quite a few injuries, quite a few surgeries, but I haven't had majors. I haven't had neck problems and back problems and stuff like that, like some of my mates and some of my other players, or I haven't had too many concussions to the point where some people. So some of it's good management, some of it's just good luck. Eh?
Nice, bro. Nice. Mate, I want to completely change topic here, bro, and just take you back to 2013, mate. Now you're training with the Force. You're in Sydney. You're about to, I believe, make your debut for the Force. And within a matter of minutes, your whole world's completely turned upside down with the passing of your then wife, Hannah, mate. And just for those watching, I have asked Chris Pride just if we could touch on this. But mate, talk to us about that, or how that was. But I guess more importantly, what are some of the things that helped you get through that just unbelievable event, bro?
Yeah, so obviously there was it was devastating, eh? Like my whole world sort of just crumbled, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know handle things, and I was all over the place, eh? And yeah, I heard a good saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And that was the way that I sort of felt. You know, I had a plan lined out for what I was going to do and where our life was going. And then one morning I get woken up to your whole life's been turned upside down. And if I had, you can't really give anyone tips on how to deal with something like that. The only thing I've had a couple of people go through the same thing. And the only thing I can tell them is it's just time, eh? Got to do the best you can with what you've got, and it doesn't get any easier, but you just learn to sort of deal with it, and that's all it really is. Eh? I had a 4-year-old daughter to try and raise, and yeah, bro, that was my only sort of hope I had. There was everything else in my life had gone away, and I solely had to focus on what I could do for her to make her feel better, because I didn't care about anything else. I didn't care about rugby. I didn't care whether I'd got hit by a truck. None of that mattered to me. But I had a daughter who was my shining light, and that was sort of the only thing that dragged me through that misery. But we got through it, and our life moves on. So everyone's got something, bro. Everyone's got something to deal with, and yeah, it's just what it is sometimes.
Awesome, bro. Appreciate you sharing some of that stuff. And some of just a bit of background. One of the big reasons or drivers for me doing this podcast was to talk to people like yourself, but also share some of those stories around adversity and actually getting through them. And I think that kind of stuff and sharing that kind of stuff is really relevant, particularly now in the current environment. We're all in a bit of state of shock and anxiety, but we're all going to get through this, and there's always light at the end of the tunnel, bro. So yeah, appreciate you sharing a bit about that.
I feel now that situation has given me quite a good outlook on, and I feel massive amounts of gratitude for the life that I get to live. And I feel there's always someone who's going to do it tougher than you. And like this situation that we're in now, there's always someone that's going to be doing a harder road than you. So I always feel grateful for the things that I have, and I think that's come from the things that I've lost in the past, or the misery that I've been through. It's given me a good outlook on going forward, that's for sure.
Nice, bro. And it's, with those type of events, you soon sort of realize, how good you have it, but what's really important in life, bro? So yeah.
For sure, yeah.
And your daughter Layla, she's 11 now, is that right?
She's 11, and I've got a little boy on the way, so things are about to heat up around here.
Wow, God, I don't know if I don't know if Hawke's Bay's ready for a mini Chris yet, mate.
I don't know if I'm.
Oh, exciting times, mate. Now, you've since remarried. Tell us about that, mate, and how that happens and how that's changed and enhanced your life as well, bro.
Yeah, so we got married. Oh, it's not going to look good. I can't even remember the date, but
I can edit this bit if you want, bro, before we post this.
last winter we got married. So we were in Russia. We had the date and stuff all booked. So we flew straight from Spain to Russia, and I told them, I've got a time. So we came back, got married, and it's been good, man. My wife is awesome, and she's been a really good parent to my daughter, and now she's going to be a parent to a new baby as well. So it's all good times, man. Yeah, I can't complain. Everything is going awesome.
Just in regards to your new wife, and how important was it for you to make sure that Layla was really good with the situation and that there was a good connection there? Were you conscious of that, bringing another mother figure into her life?
I was really conscious of that, and that was the most important thing to me. I don't think my daughter met her for about 6 months or so. And then it was just important to me to make sure that I wasn't just bringing someone into her life to leave again.
Yep.
And if I was going to introduce her to someone that was someone that was going to, at least be around for medium to long term, it's worked out that it's long term. Yeah, that was just something that I was really conscious of going into it, and they get on sweet. She's a really good mother figure to my daughter,
Nice.
and yeah, everyone has their troubles, but all in all, it's smooth sailing.
Nice, mate. Martial arts, bro. I'm just changing tact for a bit here. You've always fancied yourself in that arena. You've done a bit of charity boxing events, but you're pretty keen on jiu-jitsu, mate. Where did that passion for martial arts come from, bro? Or was it just a product of growing up in the environment?
It was just like, it's something I haven't done. I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 4 or 5 years, and I basically did it because my older brother did it, and I jumped in and gave it a go, and it was just something I enjoyed, like the similar stuff from rugby that rugby offered me. I got from that as well, just the competitive nature and the physical sort of combat style is quite cool, the competitiveness and stuff, but it's something that I've sort of gone away from. I haven't done it for a long time now. Every now and again I'll get down with my brother and his crew and do a little bit, but it's few and far between, that's for sure. But I sort of started enjoying the boxing a little bit more, and before this virus anyway, most Fridays the boys will try and get down and put the gloves on and have a good sweat out. So it's good. That's the sort of thing, the physicality and stuff from rugby that I enjoy. I get the same sort of feeling from that stuff as well. So yeah, it's good.
Nice, bro. Looking back over your footy career, bro, was there some sort of key people or influential figures that sort of helped you along the way and sort of navigate that sort of pro footy career and just everything that's associated with that, bro?
I've got to think about it now. There's definitely a few coaches in that along the way. Like I had my differences with Pete Russell and stuff, but I always had gratitude for him and Tom Coventry giving me the opportunity that they did. Alama Iramia was a backs coach at the Hurricanes. He was another one who gave me an opportunity and was a really good coach for me. He's done good things with Auckland and stuff now and sort of moving up the ranks. There's inside and outside of rugby that I take inspiration from, and generally it's the guys that the ones that have got no quit in them, and the solid leaders that I've managed to play under is the ones that I really look up to.
Nice, bro. Life after footy, bro. So we've chatted before about some of the ventures you've got going on. So what's that looking like for you, bro? What have you got on the pipe, bro? Are you going back to plastering or?
No, we'll hopefully not have to do a day's plastering within the current climate. I might be picking apples in a few weeks. So, but I invested in all my own gear when I was playing rugby. So over the years, I sort of built, where I'm sitting now, and this is where I take on my own personal clients. So I'm a personal trainer, and I train people from my own little studio. And that way I don't have to pay gyms any overheads, or I don't have any of that stuff hanging over me. I'm just, and that's the plan going forward at the moment, bro. And I'd like to get back into strength and conditioning for rugby teams, but we'll see how that goes in the near future.
Cool, bro. So you mentioned was something that you're sort of thinking about during your playing career. So obviously, while you're playing, you're obviously trying to set yourself up for after rugby. Are you in a pretty good position, bro, at the moment?
And up until the virus hit, then I was full on with clients. I was working 4 a.m. till probably 2, 3 in the afternoons, back to back with clients. So it was going good, and as long as those clients sort of survive the recession that's coming up, then we'll keep going. But if they don't, we'll have to play it by ear and see what happens.
Nice, mate. So just in terms of the lockdown, bro, what are some things you really miss or have missed, or that you're really looking forward to be able to doing after this thing's finished?
Oh, bro, just being able to socialise with the boys, calling over to the mate's place and having a yarn, talking shit, have a beer, or get on the red. Got into drinking red wine when I was in Spain, which I never thought I'd do, but that's the main thing, You just, I might jump in the car and go and see one of the boys, or but and I'm quite missing working as well. I enjoy working with all my clients and keeping them in shape. So yeah, I'd say looking forward to getting back to some form of normality in those areas will be good.
Nice, bro. Going to wrap up soon, bro, but just a couple of things. So over your career, which spans many years and heaps of different teams, is there some key rugby memories that really stick out for you that you'll take with you?
When obviously my debut for Hawke's Bay is always special to me. 50 and 100 games for Hawke's Bay stick in my mind. My 100th game, we lost the Ramfurly Shield, so nice. That was a bit rough. And obviously winning the Ramfurly Shield twice was awesome as well, and getting to defend that on McLean Park. But one of them is I remember getting a call from Alamo. I've been waiting all day to see if you get drafted or you get picked up in the Super Rugby team. And I was at home by myself. I was sitting upstairs, and he told me, we had a bit of a conversation. He told me that I made the cut, and I chucked the phone. I was acting all calm. I chucked the phone on the bed, and then I started screaming. I was just in the house by myself, so I started screaming like how excited I was. And I looked down, and he was fucking still on the phone. So I quickly hung up, and I had to sort of slink downstairs a little bit embarrassed, but that's how much it kind of meant to me. That moment was when I sort of felt like I'd cracked that I could call myself a professional rugby player from then.
Nice, bro. All right, bro. I did this with Dan. I'm going to do it with you too. So I've just got some quick fire questions, mainly around training and physical performance, bro. Remember, we're only dealing in factual stuff here, so don't bump up the figures. Talking 1 rep maxes here. Bench.
Yeah.
Bench press, mate. 1 RM.
145.
145. Bench.
Yeah.
1 RM. Nice. Squat.
What sort of depth are we talking?
Standard stuff,
I'll
mate.
go 190 to depth.
Wow, nice. Deadlift.
Deadlift 250.
Nice. Yo-yo. Yo-yo, bro.
Best yo-yo 19.4.
19.4. And best beat, the old school beat test.
Beat test, younger days, I think I did a 14.2 was my best.
Nice, that's admirable, mate. 1K rower.
305.
And 500 rower.
I don't think I've ever done a 500.
Okay.
I can get back to you on that one.
Anything sub 90 seconds is pretty good for that. Right, best skin folds, mate.
Oh, skinnies.
Fat percentage for those that aren't aware of the old skin fold terminology.
I think I was, I can't really remember, but I think I would have been late 50s, early 60s.
Nice. Okay, toughest opponent you've played against, bro?
Toughest opponent? In all positions, or are you talking about someone I've marked?
All positions. All positions, mate. Yeah.
I think probably Bucky's is the most intimidating. Either Bucky's Botha or Jerome Kino was someone who was pretty intimidating as well.
Nice. And sort of most respected player that you've played alongside?
Most respected, I reckon Conrad is probably up there for me. He was an awesome leader and unreal player for the things he did for just a skinny white boy was pretty unreal.
Nice, bro. Hey, that just brings us to the end of the podcast, bro. Just want to thank you for jumping on. And again, particularly some of that sensitive content we discussed and just being open and honest about all those sort of things and just life in general, bro. Any parting message you want to give to the masses, bro, given the current climate?
Well, I presume you're using the word masses lightly in terms of views for this podcast.
Oh, it's going to grow, mate, after you get on.
Nah, just grind it out. We'll be back to normal in no time, I think. Stay fit and healthy, and if you get that virus, it'll give you a better chance to push through it.
Nice work, bro. Thanks for your time, brother. Appreciate it.
Sweet, brother. Take it easy.